How long are you in town for, Jonathan? Oh, looks like, sorry, I'm sorry. We're at 3 o'clock. Hello, everyone. Welcome to TechCrunch Live. Here we help founders build better venture-backed businesses by talking to founders and the investors who finance them. We'll be discussing consequential decisions and what's kept them working together for all of these years. My name is Brian Heater. I am the hardware editor at TechCrunch, and I will be your host for this week's show. Psyched about our guests this week. We will be talking to Bruce Leak of Playground and Jonathan Hurst of Agility to discuss their efforts in bringing bipedal robots into the fulfillment and last mile delivery categories. Then, as always, we're going to be turning things over to a trio of early stage startups for a pitch session. If you'd like to participate, you'll find all the instructions to do so over on our Hopin. The show is streamed on a number of different services, but we ask that you also follow us over on Hopin so that you can do things like leave comments, network with other viewers and our guests, and talk to the TechCrunch staff. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's get started. I want to more properly introduce our guests for this week. Bruce Leak is a founding partner at Playground Global. He got his start at Apple, where he invented and brought QuickTime to the market, and has since founded and sold a number of startups, including WebTV, which was purchased by Microsoft in 1997. Jonathan Hurst is the co-founder and CTO of Agility Robotics. He's also a professor of robotics at Oregon State University, which planted the seeds for agility through their walking robots, Atreus and Cassie. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us this week.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for having us.
For sure. I wanted to actually kick things off with Bruce. I'm kind of curious how agility first got on your radar.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. At Playground, we seek out scientists and entrepreneurs that are building the foundational technologies that we believe are going to make a positive impact on the world. And we partner with them to deliver on that promise. And, we were, surfing the internet like any good venture capitalist, and ran across a video that Agility had released showing their first product called Cassie. And we were super impressed. This product, at some level was just an incredible pair of legs, and almost only a pair of legs, but it could walk for hours or even run across uneven terrain, in a very practical way. And seeing something like that we previously thought might not even be possible, we knew we had to meet the Agility team and understand who they were and where they were going.
I love that the secret to finding early stage startups is watching YouTube videos, just looking for cool stuff over there. Which, Jonathan, when Cassie started, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it was an OSU project. At what point was it clear for you and the team that you wanted to make the jump from the lab into the world of startups?
It was before Cassie. Really, it was our science demonstrator, Atreus, which is, kind of the first machine to really show human-like walking gait dynamics. And it walked outside over all kinds of terrain and so on. It's a very simple machine. And that was the point we said, we've got the core science. Now let's do something with it. Let's make a difference. Let's make an impact. Let's spin this out and start a company. And so that's what I, talked to my good friend, now our CEO, Damien Shelton, said, it's time, let's start this company. And my star student who was really behind making this thing work, who had stayed on, that's Mikhail Jones. And then we co-founded the company. And then, developing Cassie was a long transition process. We were working on making sure, like with Damien's past experience, that the licensing was going to be good coming from the university to the company. And that we were producing a product that others could use. It was going to be robust and durable and reliable. And, that's something we wanted to do at the very beginning, was make a product and sell it as soon as we possibly could. So.
And we were really impressed by that, Brian. In fact, that, the fact that, as a 6-person company, when we met them, they were already selling robots albeit to research institutions, people they knew very well, but they were selling them, supporting them, understanding what worked and didn't work. I mean, they weren't just about, doing backflips or, showing, cool tricks on the internet. They were trying to figure out, how do you deliver a practical robot into the world and make it useful?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier before we started rolling on this, the number of Cassies in the world versus Digit Robots, which is the kind of Cassie's successor, who we will be talking about in the moment. I think you'd say there's something in the neighborhood of maybe like a dozen or so Cassies that were produced. Was that really when Agility first spun out from OSU? Was the idea specifically to make robots for research facilities?
I mean, that's kind of our beachhead market, So there's a lot of things to do when you're starting a company. And one of them is practice an entire culture of, are we going to be a demos shop? Are we going to be, secret for a long time and then come out with our product? Are we going to, and we just decided early on, we want to build things and sell them and support them. And that takes practice and that takes a culture around that. And so, that, like I mentioned with my co-founders and with Damien, that was a real push that we'd had together. So, we developed some of the technology of Cassie while still at the university, and then gradually shifting that over to the production. And the first Cassie robot produced by Agility Robotics, when we were maybe 3 people, shipped, went off to an academic customer who started using it in their research. So it's not our vertical market, that's not, you're not going to sell thousands and thousands of robots to academic research institutions, but we had the path. We always knew Digit was in the future. We didn't know its name yet, but we always knew that being able to manipulate things and perceive things and, do useful work in the world was what we needed to get to. But step 1, hey, let's sell a bunch of robots where we are now and work our way up.
Yeah, and I think an important part of the puzzle that people outside of the robotics world don't really understand is like one of the biggest values in being a company that sells robots to research facilities is you're effectively training an entire generation of students to use and to develop on your robot.
Yeah, we had that in mind too. So,
and they've since hired a lot of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go out and you're building a company that's going to do something that is really different, that is really new, where are we going to hire engineers with experience with highly dynamic physical interaction in the world with, force sensitive behavior? It's just not common. So yeah, having students using the robots and a whole pipeline of people not only helps us, it helps the whole the whole pipeline, the whole infrastructure.
Bruce, when you're in that stage and you see this really cool video and OSU, even prior to Agility, was really good about getting these things out there. I know we covered a number of the early Cassie stories over on TechCrunch, but when you see this cool piece of technology and you decide that you want to not only have a conversation with Jonathan and his team, but actually, perhaps invest in it at some point down the road, how important is it that you see those clear commercial applications early on?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's pretty easy in the robotic space to imagine that someday, there's going to be robots in our world and they're going to help us with all kinds of, useful tasks. And we've all seen the Jetsons. We know what's going to happen someday. The question is really just when. And I think the thing we recognized in seeing Cassie was the breakthrough of, this could really be a practical robot today, right? It only weighed 70 pounds. It could last 5 or 6 or even 8 hours on a battery. Everything we'd seen to date, had a 1 hour or 30-minute runtime, would weigh several hundred pounds. You wouldn't want to be very close to it because you'd afraid it might fall on you and hurt you. Where Cassie was this very approachable, very practical approach to being able to mobilize in the worlds we live in. And we can just see that you could build on top of these legs, a mobile applications platform that wasn't the thing that you carried in your pocket, but was something that could actually, move itself throughout our environment and do tasks. I'd love to have a mobile applications platform that could clean my garage, or rake the leaves out of my front yard versus one that I have to carry around and tap on its screen.
So how many investors are going to recognize that and see that right up front? That's not real common.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that transition. And Julio, if you start the video for us, we do have some video of Digit, who we've been kind of working up to. There we go. So this is Digit. This is really, I mean, is it safe to say that it's Agility's first commercial robot?
That's exactly what it is. So, I mean, this is, the transition we've made over the past few years to doing useful work in the world. And our robots working in logistics applications and warehouses, where they just can't hire enough people. And the market is expanding so much, this e-commerce just boom, which really is the future. It's not going away. It's only going to continue to expand. And having automation, having robots come in to really augment the human work, have the robots do kind of the dull, dirty, basic stuff, and really elevate the ability to deliver, literally deliver packages, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that is the first commercial application that we saw, and I think the first commercial application for Digit specifically was through the Ford partnership that was announced a few CESs ago, and that really envisioned Digit as being one of these last mile delivery robots, right? So, taking on companies like Starship and Nuro, but obviously with the marked advantage of like being up steps. Is that still a kind of a major application?
I mean,
or is it really?
I think that, the partnership with Ford has been fantastic. And I think that Digit is fantastic at that last 100-foot, go over the stairs and across the bike path and deliver the package to the front step. But that application is really premised on autonomous vehicles, getting the packages to the front of your house. And that will happen, but it's probably not in scale, today or tomorrow. Where at the same time, the pandemic has driven, such a rise in e-commerce. And as Jonathan mentioned, there's, I think at last check, there were more than 500,000, logistics and transportation openings that were unfilled. And I've seen some statistics that say, 30 years ago that there were, tens of applications per opening for warehouse jobs, and we've gotten to the point where there's less than one applicant per open job today in some of the warehouse and logistics opportunities.
So is the decision to, I guess, sort of invest more specifically in warehouse and logistics, is that kind of, to a certain extent, a result of a pandemic, if not pivot, at least a sort of a shift in focus?
No, it's really, look, the value in a robot that can just operate in our human-centric world is versatility. There are so many different tasks and things to do that require that kind of form factor and that ability for physical interaction. So it's not an either or. I think that the last 50 feet delivery is, like Bruce said, it's absolutely going to happen. And the front yards will always be a human space, a human environment. We're not going to set those up for robots to come in and make it for them. It's for us. But also, like Bruce said, we need autonomous vehicles and fleets of them operating for that to be opened up for us. So having the robots be in a warehouse is a much more controlled environment. It's the same skill sets. It's picking up a box, moving it somewhere, setting it down. It's on the technology path. It's on the roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, right? It's a warehouse being a controlled space from the standpoint of like you as your team, when you're deploying these robots, can sort of like go in, figure out what the layout is, deploy them, versus just having to figure out what like every single front porch in your neighborhood looks like, which is a much more difficult challenge.
Well, I mean, it's like a very long go-to-market strategy with a total addressable market that's big. So there's a lot of applications for something like this.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce, with an investment like this, with the company that, as we said, 12 chassis, the number of digits is ramping up. You're making them a lot faster now, but obviously we're not, we're still talking like low to mid double digits. We're not quite talking like huge scale. So I assume that part of the investment process for you has to be an implicit understanding that there's going to be a kind of a long runway here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, look, anytime you're really trying to change the world, it's going to take time. I think that, we base our our views in science and technology, and what are those fulcrum technologies that are really going to unlock those new opportunities. And as we said, this kind of practical approach to being able to go where people can go and do what people can do and help them with their tasks, we think is fundamental. And a lot of the digits that have been deployed today, they're really, none of them are really in a production environment. They're all out with customers who are using them to prove their applicability to the use cases they care about. Yeah. Right. And so they're all in essentially R&D environments for the customers that say, here's what I need done. Is Digit ready for prime time for me? And there's so many possible applications that, hey, we can just pick the easy ones to start. But we have lots of customers that, have these challenges of hiring people who aren't interested in doing some of these, boring, dangerous or dull jobs that they want Digit to be able to do more than it can today. And so there's lots of pull there, and some of them want to say, hey, we're willing to write the software ourselves to solve those problems.
And we're at a really exciting point right now, right? Because like Bruce said, we've got these robots out with some customers. They're starting to see, oh, it's real, like today, and are starting to write down contracts for pretty big numbers. We are building out a factory now and scaling our company, our applications engineering team. And those are the teams that go out to the site, learn everything there is to know about that customer application. And then above the API for our robot, start just practicing, doing the robot for that application. And yeah, so we're at that inflection point for scaling right about now.
And yeah. These kind of early, high volume applications that are fairly simple, are definitely compelling and interesting. But personally, I'm most excited about when we unleash this, to developers at large, right? When this is really a platform that anybody can decide how I want to take advantage of some arms and legs. And, it's going to be really fascinating to see what the world builds with this, right? I mean, beyond your average dog walker or, garage cleaner, what are the killer applications that we haven't even thought of yet for a form factor like this?
Right. Yep.
That's interesting. And that is something I think that Jonathan, that you and I or Damien and I haven't really discussed up to this point, is a platform, which, obviously all hardware is a platform to a certain extent, and everyone is kind of trying to go in that direction. But what's kind of the timeline for the vision in the way that Bruce just described it?
Well, first, you ask, why is this more of a platform than anything else? It's specifically because it's designed to just be part of the human world. And there's so many things, so many structures, so many environments that we've designed already around ourselves that it's very easy for a robot, for Digit, to be able to sift in and do some of those really basic things. And that's not necessarily true for any other type of robot or any other piece of hardware. So, I mean, what we envisioned, this was back some time ago, and it's shifted a bit since then. I can talk about what we're doing now. We started with the research. We started with robots and getting it out there and starting to get people used to using these things. And now we're looking at the moving boxes around. What are all the tasks you can do that involve picking up a box or a tote or a bin off of some shelf and moving it somewhere else, and then just do that 1,000 times a day, all day, every day. And there's a lot of jobs in warehouses that are like that, and unloading trailers is a big one of those. So those are kind of our key, first applications: unload trailers, move totes and boxes around the warehouse. But as it kind of grows over time, we want these to more and more integrate, where you're working alongside a person and it's something that's really helpful, and it's a trusted partner, like like a working animal, something like that. And eventually, when I'm 90 years old, I want an agility robot in my home helping me out.
Yeah,
get more intelligent over time. That'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, elder care is obviously a huge untapped space, particularly here in the States. So I wanted to move on to, let's get the pitch deck fired up. So I think we were having some discussion deciding whether or not this was the Series A or the seed pitch deck. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I mean, at the time we thought it might be a Series A, but in retrospect, it was a seed. We had done kind of a pre-seed before this, and then really when Playground came in, it was very early in the scale of our organization. And honestly, when they reached out to us after seeing that video, we were not planning to fundraise at the time. We were planning to, maybe about 6 months after we had sold a number of robots and prepared our pitch deck and everything else, that's when we were about ready to raise. But like we've been talking about, Playground kind of recognized the promise of the technology and came and had a discussion with us. So this is that initial conversation. And one thing that's interesting about this, I think you'll note, is we're describing the potential. What we're not describing is a very specific problem that we're solving for a customer in this deck at that time, because that's where we were at the time. We were showing that, hey, these robots are going to operate in human spaces. Hey, we've really captured some core piece of science. And this is the vision. I still believe in this vision. This vision endures. Robots operating in human spaces, get outside, really control, outside the cage, and that this having legs is really the only proven obvious solution. And it's definitely possible. The same rules of physics apply to robots as they do to humans. So we've cracked some of the engineering challenges. And when you capture those core dynamics, then, and it's not easy, it's a reasonably deep problem to really capture the dynamic behavior. Look at the next slide. You get some capabilities that really just emerge from that. With Atreus and with Cassie, walking around outside over all kinds of terrain, there's no perception. There's nothing that's looking at the ground. It's not planning exactly where it's going to place its foot, just balancing. And it's got great dynamics, and you get the efficiency from that, and you get the robustness from that. And then everything is built on top of that. If you want a robot that can also plan its way around the environment, you want to plan through those dynamics. So
it's effectively like you or I walking through the streets and not looking down at our feet as we're doing it.
It is, right? And that's closer than you might think. This robot, when it walks over a force plate and you measure the forces, it's the same as when a person does it. We've captured those same kind of dynamics.
I like that. I like that the meet the robot, because slide that was a couple slides ago, because that's really kind of the bread and butter here. Is it's really just sort of, this is you telling the world what this technology is. Bruce, when you look at a deck like this, obviously, it works to the extent that, you've been working with agility for a long time, but does this deliver the sorts of things that you're looking for in an early stage robotic startup?
Yeah, I think so. A couple of things we were super impressed with. One, as we've talked about several times, just what they have created, to some degree, we weren't sure was possible until we'd seen it. No one else had done it, and no one else had even said, we're going to do it. Having a robot that can walk for 6 hours, without being able to see where it's going and not falling down, and not weighing very much, we felt was, as I said, this platform for so many more things. The other thing that was super impressive, though, about agility, and you asked a little bit about what stage were they at when we came to invest. By the time we met them, they had raised less than $1 million. And they were selling, these Cassie robots, and their plan was to sell more than $1 million worth of those robots in their first year. So they raised less than $1 million. We're planning on having more than $1 million worth of revenue now from a very small market of customers. That was really differentiated. It's almost unheard of to have a robotic startup that can get to that point where they could sell a product with less than $1 million. Now, it's not completely fair because they had non-dilutive grants that they built these technologies off of, and they were leveraging all the work they've done, at OSU and actually through Damien's entire career. But, from an investment point of view, they were very capital efficient. And that gave us the confidence that if we were to write them a check, they would be really good stewards of our money. And we would see, if they could build Cassie with $1 million or so dollars, just imagine what they could do with 10 or 20.
Yeah. How did you get there, and how did you manage to avoid DARPA funding?
Well, we didn't. DARPA has been part of support for us. Atreus was a DARPA funded project, and they're very much focused on developing that science and technology. And they worked with us. I mentioned that Cassie was intended to be, as we developed the robot at the university, the whole point was to transition that back out to the company. If you could, on the deck, go back a couple of slides to the kind of timeline there. And I don't know. Yeah. So I mean, we did develop. They are interested in buying things and useful stuff. They buy laptops. It's that kind of thing. It's technology that's generally useful, and they're very interested in making sure that that happens. So you can see on our timeline here, we have vertical markets listed at phase 4, which is kind of now-ish, and that's where we are, and that's what we're doing. But you can see even from day one, we started with this research platform, and we're working up through getting to sustainable production and then vertical markets.
Looking at something like this vertical markets piece right here, or some of these sort of broader ideas of addressable markets, Bruce. Is that sort of clear enough of a picture if you believe in the technology and if you believe in the team, or at this stage in the process, do you really need a clear picture of specifics?
We didn't invest in Agility because of their expertise and their go-to-market strategy, or even their experience with customers, right? I mean, this was fundamentally a technology play. We felt that they were 5 years ahead of everybody else in this type of space, and we really didn't see anybody else doing what they were trying to do. Being able to build a robot that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and to have that be able to coexist in our lives was nothing we'd really seen. I mean, you see that with wheels, but it doesn't pass the sniff test of how's that really going to work for me.
And in my experience, it's unusual in sort of good and bad ways, right? It's unusual in that the benefit and the win and the impact of being successful here is really, really big. It's not a traditional widget and a market that you're going to sell this widget into and a definition there for the business plan and how you're going to do that. It's a much, much bigger play than that. I would say, it's very clear to me after now pitching to a lot of people and kind of being in this business as we've been growing it for years, this is not a business plan, what I'm presenting here. And, so I think we were very fortunate and very pleased that Playground reached out to us. And, like I said, we weren't raising money at the time. And we spent something like 6 months going out and pitching and talking to a lot of other investors. And we just heard from a lot of other investors, they did not judge the technology or have the capacity or capability to judge the technology. They wanted to judge only on the specific business plan and when you're going to be making profit next year, and then where's the scale on the hockey stick. And that just wasn't a good match for what we were doing as a company. So it was, Playground was a really great fit because of that, because they recognized the technology play, they recognized the potential win. And then the other thing I'll say is that is pretty unique to Playground is that they came in as a partner and not just as an investor. There's a lot more than the check that's written. There's a lot of engineers and industrial designers and marketing and communications and people like that at Playground that were able to help us build the business and help us get to the point of having a really great business plan.
We also were an early customer.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, so this is
we bought a
robot.
We bought a Casty, we bought a Digit. We have our team programming them to show what's possible and to help, drive the leading edge of, where these can be used and what they can do.
Yeah, it is. I've been to the Playground headquarters where the two of you are right now a few times, and it is a really interesting differentiator between Playground and a lot of other firms. It's this wide open space, and you've got a lot of really early stage startups there, in-house. And I assume that because of the nature of the way things are laid out, that there's a lot of kind of cross-pollination and integration between the teams.
Yeah, we really love the community that gets built here and the sharing that happens across the teams because we don't invest in competing companies.
Yeah. Jonathan, if you can kind of get up and show us the robot behind you, because we've been teasing it the entire time. And while you do that, I guess sort of a question for Bruce that you can hang out in the frame, Bruce. That I'm curious about is what role Playground plays in that early stage when it comes to helping a company like Agility transition from, Jonathan obviously Damien was bringing some business expertise, but Jonathan was a professor, and that's, I assume, a difficult transition to make. So when you really do become a full-fledged company, there are certain business practices and there are people that you have to bring in, and what role can a firm like Playground play in that process?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what we're designed for, is to help take incredible technologies out of the lab and turn them into products and businesses. And so, as Jonathan mentioned, we have a technical team, across hardware and software and firmware and data science that can help dig in and help do design reviews, help do architecture reviews. We have a talent team, we have, a business team. But I think fundamentally, it's really just, helping them understand best practices. And the fact that, we have, maybe a dozen other companies in the same building here that they can interact with. And the pandemic's helped us, make that virtual and put that online. And so, we have a monthly CTO luncheon where CTOs talk about the challenges they have across the organizations, or we have a monthly marketing meeting, or we have a monthly, VP of engineering meeting. And we also dig in to help build out the leadership teams. We've helped more than a dozen of our companies hire vice presidents of engineering in the last 12 months.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm really curious from your standpoint, what that process is like, and kind of how difficult of a transition it is to make. And also, one of the things, I've been asking a lot of people in academics is whether you feel, whether it's OSU or just universities specifically, are these days doing a good enough job of helping sort of incubate and accelerate startups?
Well, there's sort of two questions there. One is, are they doing a good job? They're doing much better than before. So things like tenure and promotion now actually have entrepreneurship as one of the ways to have an impact in the world. And it's part of the mission of the university to have an economic impact in their state and their region, for certainly for land grants like Oregon State. And so the university's been very, very supportive. Now that makes it possible. That doesn't make it easy, because culturally, these are very, very different worlds. And so if we can look at the slide deck again, I can show how the tone shifted at the very beginning right here: dynamic robots for human environments. That's a little bit about what's the possibility. Hey, we've invented technology. What's the possibility? That's a fairly academic mindset. And then skip way to the end here on those slides: made for work. Now we're building robots that are going to do useful things for you, do useful things in the world. And then the next slide after this. Where is it? There we go. We're building an app store for labor. Now you can understand that it's a versatile machine that can do a lot of different tasks. And from the customer's point of view, you can see this and say, oh, I can imagine how this is going to solve my problem. It's not just technically interesting. And so that's kind of the transition right there. It's just shifting your mindset towards how are you going to solve a problem for somebody. And then, man, the biggest piece of it is practice and having a lot of conversations. There's no way to just make that shift. Like, you can't do it in a week or a month. You have to give pitch after pitch after pitch, have a lot of conversations with customers, get a lot of feedback, which may feel like criticism sometimes, and understand why you're getting the feedback that you are, because people are going to give a lot of advice and a lot of suggestions. And I would say 80% of those suggestions or advice don't apply or aren't really all that useful. So you have to be very good about understanding why they, in the first place, thought what you weren't doing was great, and then choose carefully which advice you want to take and how you want to fix it in a way that's a fit for your business and your expertise and your skill set and your technology and how you want to solve the problem.
Do you get the sense that, were you to do a pitch deck now, because, obviously I assume funding is still something you're looking at, that it would be radically different than what we're looking at right now?
Well, right now, no. This is where this is the message. We are building robots that are made for work.
Now, so not the last slide, but the first slide would be.
Yeah, no, the first slide, yeah, it's shifted quite a lot how we talk about things. At the time, right, I don't blame myself too much, don't blame us. At the time, what did we have? We had a really interesting and enabling piece of technology, and that's what we could sell as a possibility. And now we have a robot, and you saw the video of the robot doing the job. And so there's no need to try and convince people that the technology is interesting, especially if you're talking to investors who typically are not technologists. You show them the machine doing the job, and you talk about how this is going to provide value to customers. And boy, it just takes a lot of practice and understanding the problem really well, and an awful lot of conversations. So just be out there. You know, the more conversations you can have, the more, I don't know, visiting customers and talking with investors and casual conversations, not just pitching, but hey, we're not raising money, but you know, can we talk about this? Would you be willing to discuss this with me? I think a lot of investors, you know, a lot of investors will have those conversations, right?
Absolutely. No one's raising money anymore. They're only just interested in having conversations about where they're going and whether we should give them some money.
Yeah. I would say that I've seen a lot of people raising money during the pandemic, but that's just from my side of things. We can get into that more, you know, if we have some time at the end. I do want to transition over to the pitch off that we mentioned at the top of the show. So as I said, we were going to have three. Yep, we've got 3 companies this time. Same rules as always. Each startup gets 2 minutes to pitch, and then Bruce and Jonathan, you will have 5 minutes to ask questions and offer feedback and all that good stuff. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Cool. Great. Let's bring up the first company. MobiQ is the name of the company. And I am going to ask you to pronounce your name for me when you go up. There we go. Are you there? You better have to unmute yourself.
Hi, I can hear you right now. And this is Selçuk. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for joining us today.
It's okay, by the way.
Okay. Well, all right. Selçuk, thank you for joining us. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to see a timer is going to pop up in one of the screens on your window. That's going to give you a countdown. You're going to get 2 minutes and go.
Okay. MobiQ is next generation last mile delivery box operating in on-demand delivery. And on-demand food delivery is growing, especially for the last couple of years. And most of the companies are focusing on delivery side, vehicle, courier, or platform. But there is a gap needs to be bridged between end user, and we come up with a box solution. All we need is a better service for what we pay, and all the company needs optimization and cost saving to compete in this market and in this war. We solve these two in a box, and with the box solution, we optimize the company deliveries and sustain multiple delivery points and giving 33% cost saving advantage. How we are doing this one? With an integration of the IoT-enabled electronic device in a box, we provide end-to-end digital delivery experience, and you can remotely control the temperature. You can even detect if there is an accident during the delivery. And there's electronic locking system in the box, and the box could be unlocked by the end user only. And by scanning the QR code, you will be able to get all the journey, all the information regarding the delivery via mobile app, and all the information will be transferred to the cloud system, and service provider will be able to know what is delivered, when it is delivered, and what are the conditions. And the box provides cost optimization saving, and as a plus, it provides a product benefit in line with the market expectation. That is real-time monitoring, hygiene warranty, safety warranty, and also we are using very sustainable material to contribute a better world. With the multiple delivery options, it's independent from courier and the vehicle. That means this box could be adapted easily for every type of vehicle used in the last mile delivery. But our target is e-bikes and e-scooters. And MobiQ just giving end-to-end digital delivery experience for everyone.
Awesome. Right at time. So we're talking delivery here. So this is something that Jonathan, that you've certainly got some knowledge about on your end. You guys kick it off.
I'll ask a clarification question. So is this a package in a box that is then easy to track?
That's right. We call it the box as a service. We provide smart boxes, data analytics, and the KPIs.
And then is it getting to the location through any traditional means, either through human delivery or through the autonomous robots that deliver, or it doesn't matter? It's but getting there through other services?
Currently it's adapted for the e-bike, e-scooters, and also for the people. And we are targeting to adapt it for the drones and autonomous deliveries too. It's very light, highly thermal insulated and has a very rigid thermal resistance too.
And is the box recyclable at the end, or do they return? Does it turn back and get used again, or is it?
I got the question. There is just connection loss, and for this interruption, is fully recyclable and reusable. We give 2 years warranty, and just changing the electronic or the box, we renew the box automatically because we are able to use the electronic device up to 5 years. But we are only giving 2 years warranty to all the consumer or service provider. The material itself made out of the recyclable material, but with a special coating, we provide a tensile strength for these boxes.
So the box is designed for multiple uses. It's not, the box itself is not disposable. Yeah.
Yes.
How do you get that electronics back then from the person that received it?
The electronics only integrated in the one side of the box. By changing this side, we are renewing the box automatically, and these electronic device cannot be accessed by the end user because there's a locking system, and if you scan the QR code, you can only unlock the box, but the device is not visible. It's embedded already.
Who's your customer? Is it the person receiving the box, or is it the companies that are delivering them?
While we are increasing the customer satisfaction, our main target or our main value proposition is providing cost optimization for the service provider. So it's B2B. We are not targeting B2C. We are giving the box to the service provider. That could be a last mile delivery service, a restaurant chain, a food delivery company. Anyone could use it. Also, even for parcel deliveries too.
What do you expect the cost of the box to the service provider will be?
The box itself costs cheaper than a traditional box assembled on the e-bikes or scooters, but we are providing 3 boxes at the same time to be used for one vehicle, for one person. In total, return of investment of the box is up to 6 months for every companies. Anyhow, they are making these purchases every year, and that's the advantage. We provide the box free of charge, and we are getting monthly subscription for the data we are providing based on their needs, and we customize all these reports.
How does this compare to the solutions that exist today?
Today, the solution is so simple, and you have to renew all the boxes used in the environment. But the advantage of the box is that we are putting everything in a box. It's fully independent from courier or the vehicle, and we consolidate all the purchase activities. You don't need to buy any additional equipment. You don't need to buy any tracking operation. You don't need to track the vehicle or the courier. You are only tracking the product end to end. And you will save a lot of waste. You will not use the plastic bags, additional cardboard packaging, and so on. Just put your product in the box.
And then what's the size of the market? The total addressable market?
It's on-demand delivery market, but if you're talking about only the box, and the total market is around 14 billion, and the total addressable market for us, if it is the 5%, quite enough.
Great. And what's the cost of the subscription?
I'm sorry.
What's the cost of the subscription?
We have 3 different options based on the customer needs, but the basic one is 20 euro per box, and that's per month. And we are giving 3 options: 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year contract.
Okay.
Cool. Great. Awesome. Well, Selçuk, thank you so much.
Highly appreciate it for your comments. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, really appreciate it. Obviously this is kind of it's a tough thing to do, to jam everything into 2 minutes there. I'm curious, as we sort of transition to the next company, I'm going to call FLX Solutions, Matt from FLX Solutions up, but I'm curious between the two of you, sort of beyond the questions that you had about the product, if you have any feedback about the presentation.
I think from my perspective, I know that in this format, they don't have any slides or any visual, but having some single front-loaded visual that gets the idea across immediately, the concept, the idea, and what it is very grounding. And that would be the starting point for all of the rest to build from.
Yeah, that's fair. We spent the first several questions like trying to figure out exactly what it was and how it integrated, which is sort of just you're right. I mean, it's a fault of not having a visual element.
But people make up their minds so fast on whether they're interested or not. Having something on that very first slide that's visual, and this company has the opportunity to do that, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thank you. Well, we have Matt from FLX Solutions is here. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So you're going to see a timer. It's going to pop up in a second. It's going to give you a countdown, and you're going to have 2 minutes to present in now.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Matt Bilski. I am inventor, turned contractor, turned mechanical engineering professor. I founded Flex Solutions out of my own frustrations on the work site. Our team has spoken to hundreds of stakeholders across the construction maintenance landscape. In their own way, they all describe the exact same problem. They can't get where they need to work and safely do what they need to do, something that I've experienced firsthand as a licensed contractor and professional engineer. What we learned is that just like delivery and distribution has that last mile problem, inspection and maintenance has the last meter problem. Getting and doing inspections in these tight to access spaces is difficult. So when people are doing it, it can cost twice as much and putting workers in dangers. But oftentimes they're just being skipped, which can lead to project overruns on the order of 20%. Our solution is the FlexBot. The FlexBot's a modular, snake-like robot, 1 inch in diameter, that's designed to be put into tight spaces to inspect, map, and then autonomously perform the required maintenance. Every FlexBot link is identical and packed full of sensors, including cameras and flashlights. Different end effectors can be easily interchanged, like spray nozzles, grippers, specialty cameras, you name it. And then combining all of these links together is what actually makes the FlexBot with our ability to extend and rotate. Anybody can FlexBot. It's designed to be used without the need for special training. It's a collaborative robot or cobot that a worker simply inserts into a tight space and automatically detects and avoids the obstacles. Here's an example use case learned from our construction partners. After buying an existing building, it's necessary to map and visually inspect all the nooks and crannies. A FlexBot can be used in the ceiling to map and then identify what retrofits they want to go ahead and do. We're playing in some multi-trillion-dollar markets like construction maintenance, infrastructure, and utilities. And we've received inbound interest from many of the leaders across the industry. Thanks again for the time, and I look forward to your questions.
Awesome. We all love a good snake robot. You know, it's a technology we've seen, but a lot of people are obviously trying to commercialize that technology. Gentlemen, I'll let you take it away.
Do you have a good first question?
Yeah, I'd love to know how, I can see the utility of the product. And do you think that is this sold through the companies that employ the contractors, or the contractors buy them themselves in order to make their jobs easier? How do you think that the go-to-market works on this?
That's a great question. So right now we're focused on industry leaders, whether it's like Kajima, the third largest construction company in Japan, or partnered with Gensler, the world's largest architecture firm. They have in-house scanning and technology departments. They would purchase FlexBots, and they would actually end up subscribing because it's really the data insights, being able to do semantic segmentation of what they're seeing and creating a turnkey solution. And one of the key differentiators, to your point, Brian, that there are a lot of snake-like robots, is one, being 1 inch in diameter, but 2, offering that at basically power tool prices. So this notion of you would actually be able to deploy these across your entire fleet. And so that's kind of where we're operating at.
So when you say snake robot, is it mobile on its own? Is it going to crawl? Or how does it move and get in somewhere?
That's a great question. So right now we're focused on cobotics, where the user would go and then imagine like a self-bending coat hanger, where you fish it in, detects the obstacles. But we have the patented ability with the first true cylindrical joint. So we can actually expand and brace against the walls of a cavity, just how you or I, if we were in a chimney as like a rock climber, would slither up. Once the level of autonomy gets there, as we map buildings and understand that cobotically, then we can look to that kind of novel locomotion that we're able to do and nobody else can.
I have to ask you. So you mentioned power tool prices. How are you keeping the price so low on this?
Well, bootstrapping, being a hardware startup, forces you to think about things differently. And so this came out of my work. I figured out a way to get a free PhD and invent the technology and own the patents along the way. And so really thinking from day one, this has to be mass deployable. So as you're inventing different technologies and solving problems, I'll pick on, like, if you're using Maxon motors as a core technology to make your thing move, you're not going to see the economies of scale. But thinking about it, what can we do with commodity technology and good sensors that are scalable to actually end up with a feasible price point at scale?
And have you thought about easy ways to get the data, into the cloud and make it accessible to all the stakeholders in the development process?
Yeah, exactly. So right now you see a screen behind me because we're phase 2 finalists competing in this Department of Energy competition for building envelope retrofits. And we're partnered with Gensler and another AI firm working on, for retrofits, a holistic tool with that data mindset. And then also working with industry leaders like Hover, who's like the exclusive data provider for ExxonMobil and ConocoPhillips, who have these workflows that integrate into these customers. So that's an easy way to start off. And then as we start working with these folks and building out our pipelines, figure out where the blue oceans of, oh, there's nobody who's doing a great job at this in the data ingestion stage. And those are opportunities to build additional IP.
Yep. And have you considered, potentially even being an archive on a, building by building basis, across contracts, across contractors? The building owner wants to archive all that kind of unique data that you've created over time, so that when some problem happens 20 years later, they know what that cavity looked like.
Exactly. I experienced that. I was property manager for a bunch of properties here. And when it transitioned from me, I knew every house like the back of my hand and all the quirks. And none of that information was documented in a way that the next person could pick it up. And then there's, of course, worker safety. And so those are the things that we're looking at through this eRobot application, and really kind of going forward, those opportunities to add fourth dimensions, I guess, to information.
I'm guessing based on the price that you're expecting customers to buy it outright?
Initially, pure hardware sales, then basically driving the price point down to hundreds of dollars, where the hardware costs are nominal and it's really a subscription. So, you rent a cell phone and pay for a data plan. We could look towards things like that, where it's really subscribing to FlexSpot, the data services, and you subscribe a certain amount, you'd end up getting the FlexSpot hardware included.
So I've got a question which maybe isn't quick, but for your initial go-to-market use cases, what's the simplest possible solution that you can apply, and is it a snakebot to solve that?
Yes, that's a great one, right? What's our biggest competitor? Status quo. People figure out creative, sometimes dangerous ways of doing things. Then there's the GoPro on a stick. Can you do it with the GoPro on a stick versus us? But time and again, or drones or RC cars, folks have said, great. Like an example is underground utility vault. You lower it, doink. There's a transformer there. They want to be able to see behind. And something that we've heard from a few of these multi-billion-dollar companies is multiple perspectives of the same things is really crucial, as opposed to just that instantaneous view from where the stick is.
Okay, great.
Yeah, long question answered in like the exact perfect amount of time. So bonus points for that, Matt. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.
Seems like you're really engaged with the customer. I think that's super important.
You're our best. Thanks so much.
Cool. All right. That was great. Thank you. Cool. So yeah, coming up next, we have X3EM Mobility Living is the next company coming up. Pretty good as far as pitching went. I thought like really addressed all of the questions there and in a very kind of clear and succinct manner.
What I noticed is he's got a pretty big vision for a complicated technology, right? And then also an earlier kind of approach to it. I think a very brief overview of a tech roadmap, like what are we going to do at the very beginning and where is it going to go, might be useful. But that's a technologist speaking. I don't know what Bruce was saying.
Yeah. But for a 2-minute pitch, it really, I think hit the right notes in a good way. Cool. So is it Sergey?
Yeah, Sergey.
Sergey. All right. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. You are up next. You're going to see a timer will pop up on your screen. It's going to give you a 3-second countdown, and then you will have 2 minutes to pitch in now.
Good day, guys. Serge, CEO and founder of Extreme Mobility Living. We 3D print and manage sustainable skyscrapers. Did you know 3 in 5 Americans live from paycheck to paycheck? And millennials and young families cannot even afford to buy housing in major cities. A solution is global network of 3D printed sustainable skyscrapers. We call them Live Everywhere, which is mobile, sustainable, and affordable. Imagine a Carvana kind of car tower, but a skyscraper. Instead of cars, we put container houses inside. And we have a vertical garden inside as well. So we're targeting Fortune 500 company employees and providing housing as a benefit, like Amazon, Cisco's, and reaching out to HR managers. So our competition traditionally probably heard Icon, Mighty Buildings, and other 3D printing companies. Patent granted technology allows us to 3D print 50 times higher and 5 times faster. We have an amazing team, three C-level executives with experience in mortgage, robotics, and 3D printing. We have an advisory board. Attraction includes 36 people on waiting list, US patent granted, 4 letters of intent, and a great team of 19 people. Extreme is on a mission to help solve housing affordability crisis for 1 billion people, because everybody on this planet needs to feel at home. And we're looking for visionaries who can help us reach out that vision. Thank you very much.
Great. So no lack of big picture thinking on that one, right? Starting really big with the company there. So maybe difficult to figure out exactly where to start, but I'll let you guys take it.
I'll start with a clarification question. So I heard I heard container housing, and I heard like the mobile parking garages that move them around in a building. How do people live there? How is it deploying these, or is it like a reconfigurable apartment building? I didn't quite understand.
So imagine if you've seen Carvana towers with cars. Mm-hmm. So basically it's a skyscraper like that one. Instead of cars, we put container houses inside. There is an elevator there, and we also integrate vertical garden inside. So waste is recycled and used to produce greens, mushrooms, and fish. So it's a sustainable skyscraper.
You got a lot going on there. I love the big picture of solving, housing and sustainability and the cost effective and modularity. What's your thoughts on, and how do you go about from a kind of building code point of view? If you really are using, what I'm imagining are, truly containerish modules, how high can you go with that approach?
So our technology allows to go pretty high, up to like 100 stories, but we need to prove it first. And for initial sites, we're looking for regulation-friendly locations.
A point of clarification on my end. So, again, we're talking about like all these different elements you've described. Essentially a vertical farming with fishing, which obviously there's a lot of specific companies doing vertical farming right now. Are you trying to take every single aspect of this on, or are you planning on partnering with some of those companies?
We're planning to partner with some of those companies. For example, we just participated in University of Miami Accelerator, PropTech Accelerator, and some of the companies like providing graphene to strengthen cement, green cement, so we can use like 30% less with same type of strength. So we of course gonna partner with many companies. Correct.
What are you selling?
There you go. That's what I was getting at.
So we're gonna sell individual units at $200,000 per unit plus $1,000 condo fee, which includes everything, utilities plus daily food.
Is that 5,000? That's an annual or a monthly?
No, 1,000 monthly. Yeah, correct.
1,000 monthly.
So I understand for like a car tower that's moving cars, you need your car to come and go and be mobile. How is that, but not for homes, why do we want to move the modular homes around in that
For
tower?
example, one of our advisors had Uncle Jim, and during COVID, his employer closed doors. So he had to move from Long Island to Florida. He sold his house in Long Island. He bought a house in Florida.
Yeah.
4 weeks later, the team decided to move to Texas. So imagine if you had a container house, you would have put it on the back of a truck, and we would deliver it to Florida or Texas or whatever locations we have at that time.
I see.
Who would you be partnering with then? Who are you working with? You know, in terms of like, is it real estate companies or like who is your primary client?
So we currently looking to partner with developers. We at University of Miami Accelerator, we were introducing to a couple of top real estate developers. So we're looking to partner with those, of course, vertical farm companies. We're also gonna provide energy storage solution. Last year, Google X open sourced air to water extraction technology. So we wanna get some water from air and use it in a vertical garden inside, but as well use it as an energy storage. And when we lower down the water, we will spin the turbine and generate needed electricity for the residents.
Awesome. Well, Serge, thank you for joining us. It was super interesting. You know, I know kind of a question for Bruce, but you know, I think probably I don't know, maybe was narrowing the focus probably a good way to sort of start with a pitch like that?
No, focus is always good, and kind of knowing where your secret sauce is, and what you're uniquely positioned to be great at. I love the dream of let's solve everything while we're at it, energy and food and housing. I don't know why you'd ever have to move to another job with living in the world he's building, but I think that a little bit of focus of we're going to start with start with graphene structures and build out, and then we're going to be the best at that, and that can go incredibly big over time.
Cool. Well, we're actually at time right now, so it was a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us this week. And to our special guest behind us, Digit, back there as well. All right. We did not see that coming. Jonathan and Bruce, thanks so much for joining us again. Thanks everybody who tuned in this week. And just a quick friendly reminder before we go, what's coming up at TechCrunch? We have TC Early Stage that's going to be live and in person on April 14th in San Francisco. Tickets are still available for an early bird price of $249. All this information and more is available in the agenda section of Hopin today. TechCrunch is going to return. TechCrunch Live is going to return next week. We will be talking to Greylock and their portfolio company, Snorkel AI. And we have a big robotics event coming up in July 22nd in Boston. So we'll be offering more information on that in the near future. Thanks again for joining us. Jonathan and Bruce, thanks for joining us as well. And we will catch you next week.
Great.
Thanks Brian.
Very much.